Good morning, President Trump, Prime Ministers Turnbull, Trudeau, English and May. Thank you for watching this important presentation. The Communist Government of the People's Republic of China is perhaps the most evil organization currently operating in the world, and all moral people must oppose it. I will demonstrate to you today exactly how evil Communist Party rule in China is, and offer a pathway forward for us to work together in confronting and containing it. Because the time for appeasement has come and gone. Do we want to go down in history as the Neville Chamberlains of our age, or the Churchills? I'm a huge Sinophile. I always have been, since I became a Taoist at age 19 and began to study acupuncture, including a semester abroad in China. I went on to practice as a professional acupuncturist for 5 years, daily imparting the importance of classical Chinese principles to my clients. I have a lifelong passion for Chinese culture. There's not a biased bone in my body against the wise and civilized Chinese people. But during my deep engagement with all things Chinese over the years, I've become aware of some unsavory aspects of the current Chinese national character and government. One of the most evil practices common in modern China is forced organ harvesting. It's shocking that the Chinese Communist government imprisons tens of thousands of innocent Falun Gong practitioners and other prisoners of conscience every year, arbitrarily without trial, and then sells their organs to the highest bidder while they're still alive, and then summarily executes them in order to harvest their organs. A system that perpetuates such atrocity can only be described as evil. Another prisoner of conscience who died in China recently was Nobel Peace Laureate Liu Xiaobo, who was a protester at Tiananmen Square in '89 when the massacre occurred. Later, after helping to write the Charter 08 document advocating liberal democracy in China, he was imprisoned in 2009 for the crime of inciting subversion of state power. The following year he was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for his long and non-violent struggle for fundamental human rights in China. Liu Xiaobo died in captivity on the 13th of July 2017 after being denied adequate medical treatment by authorities. The only other Nobel Peace Prize winner in history to have died in captivity was Karl von Ossietzky, who died a detainee of a Nazi concentration camp in 1938. Let that sink in. By at least one metric, the only regime in living memory of comparable evil as the current Chinese Communist government was the Nazi German regime in 1938. The parallels don't stop there. Also like the Third Reich in 1938, modern China is extremely militaristic and expansionistic, with flagrant disregard for the rule of law. China has brazenly militarized artificial islands in the South China Sea, bristling with weaponry. Last year, the Permanent Court of Arbitration in The Hague ruled that China had no right to claim those international waters, let alone arm them to the teeth. However, The Hague was totally ignored by the Chinese, who have now moved on with plans to expand more military bases in Pakistan and Africa. It has also rapidly developed deep military ties with the world's newest dictatorship, Erdogan's Turkey. Of course, these aren't the only countries which China supports with trade and military ties. It also protects and sustains the insane regime of North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un. The West has no chance of defusing the nuclear threat posed by spoilt brat Rocket Man, while Big Daddy China continues to have his back. There are so many aspects of the Chinese government's evil, from Tibet to Taiwan and Hong Kong, from bribing corrupt senators to dobbing on uni professors, from political repression to reckless environmental destruction. China is by far the world's largest carbon emitter, spewing out well over 10 million kilotons of carbon pollution every year, more than double the nearest emitter. Chinese carbon emissions comprise 30% of the world's total, and 3/4 of the growth in carbon emissions since 2010 has been caused by China. China's carbon pollution is projected to rise by yet another 50% over the next 15 years. They need to be stopped. Someone needs to stop them, and no one else can do it but us. Therefore, I propose a multi-pronged approach to confronting and containing the Chinese threat. Firstly, we must construct a grand alliance with the explicit aim of containing Red China. Primarily, this alliance needs to comprise of Australia, America, India, and Japan. Our allies Canada, New Zealand, and the UK need to get involved as well. And we must recruit other countries, such as Indonesia, Malaysia, Vietnam, the Philippines, and South Korea. Basically, we need all the allies we can get. Secondly, we must find the courage to recognize Taiwan as an independent sovereign nation. Taiwan is the only Asian jurisdiction to have legalized same-sex marriage, yet still our government lacks the moral fortitude to recognize them as an independent sovereign nation entitled to democratic self-rule. Thirdly, we should park an aircraft carrier right next to those fake atolls in the South China Sea permanently. Put the anchor down and sit there. We need to contest that space. We can't concede it. Fourthly, we should implement a carbon import tariff on products which originate from China, so they can't continue to profit from their reckless pollution of our shared atmosphere. The conclusion of my talk is this: for evil to prosper, all that is required is for good men to do nothing. We can't ignore this problem any longer. If we do, we will regret it. We need to tackle it now, and we need to be serious. Thanks very much.